May 14th, 2023, Scottsdale, Arizona. Morning sunlight spills across a quiet house. Today is supposed to be perfect. Her name is Emily, 27. Careful, kind, endlessly organized. Her wedding is at 4 o'clock, a banquet hall in Tempe already filling with flowers and light. At 7:30 a.m., the house hums with life. Family voices, laughter, the smell of coffee. A makeup artist sets up near the window. Emily smiles through the soft chaos, checking her phone between lipstick tests. In her bedroom, her dress hangs untouched. White satin, fitted perfectly, waiting for her return. At 9:15 a.m., she grabs her keys. Just a quick trip, she says. Final touch-ups before the ceremony. Her mother tells her to hurry back. Emily waves, smiling, the kind of goodbye too ordinary to remember. 9:47 a.m., a message to her bridesmaid. Almost there, traffic's bad. Delivered, never read. And then, silence. By late morning, the house feels different. The chatter fades. Calls start to go unanswered. Her phone stops responding. 2:30 p.m. She hasn't arrived at the venue. Her bridesmaids pace by the entrance. The groom stands near the altar, glancing at his watch, every second stretching longer than the last. 3:15. Guests whisper. Music starts, stops, and starts again. No one knows what to say. 3:40. Her family admits what everyone already feels. Something is wrong. The ceremony is quietly canceled. The venue empties. And by evening, the search begins. Relatives drive the road between Scottsdale and Tempe, a narrow strip of desert and asphalt. No crash, no car, no sign. Then, just past a turnoff, someone spots it. A single heel, pale, elegant, half buried in the dirt. The kind she was meant to wear down the aisle, clean, untouched, as if someone placed it there deliberately. Police arrive. They search the area until nightfall. No tire tracks, no struggle, no Emily. At home, her dress hangs untouched. The bouquet sits beside it, petals starting to wilt. The phone's last ping, a signal from a main road, then nothing. No body, no suspect, no ending. Just a wedding that never began, and a single shoe waiting on the roadside, like an answer that refuses to speak. And while Scottsdale fell into silence, hundreds of miles away, another bride's story was beginning. One that wouldn't end with waiting, but with something much worse. Jasmine Fiore, August 14th, 2009. Del Mar, California. This story doesn't start with a wedding. It starts just after one. Her name is Jasmine Fiore, 28 years old, a model, recently married. Her husband's name, Ryan Alexander Jenkins, a Canadian reality TV contestant whose charm was part of his brand. Together, they looked perfect, glossy, glamorous, endlessly photographed. But behind that surface, something darker was growing, something no camera ever caught. On the night of August 13th, they check into a hotel near the California coast, L'Auberge del Mar, a place built for luxury, for people who want to be seen. That evening, they attend a party nearby. Witnesses say they laughed, danced, posed for photos. But somewhere after midnight, the mood changed. 2:30 a.m. hotel surveillance shows them returning briefly, then leaving again. Jasmine's face is turned away from the camera, Ryan's hand on her arm. Neither speaks. 4:30 a.m. Ryan comes back alone. He uses his key, goes inside, and the door closes behind him. It's the last verified moment of Jasmine Fiore alive. The next morning, she doesn't answer calls. Her friends assume she's asleep. Her husband says she's running errands. By that night, her name is already on the missing persons list. And then, the discovery. August 15th, Buena Park, Orange County. A dumpster behind an apartment complex. A maintenance worker opens a suitcase that shouldn't be there. Inside, the body of a woman. Unrecognizable, her teeth removed, fingertips gone. The only thing left intact, her breast implants. Investigators trace the serial numbers, and with that, the name returns. Jasmine Fiore. The man who reported her missing, her husband, disappears the same day. For nearly a week, the story swallows the news cycle. Luxury hotels, reality television, a marriage less than 2 months old. The picture of happiness. Now the anatomy of control, jealousy, and rage. August 20th. Hope, British Columbia. A motel room. Ryan Jenkins found dead. A note, vague and self-serving. No trial. No answers that could be cross-examined. Just silence. And a suitcase no one will forget. Jasmine Fiore's story travels through the headlines like an echo from Emily's unfinished day. Another woman surrounded by celebration, then swallowed by disappearance. But not every bride vanishes into violence. Some are simply gone, their absence bound to something larger, something history itself tried to erase. And in New York City, one of those stories began on the night before the world changed. Sneha Anne Phillip. September 10th, 2001. New York City. The night before everything changed. A city still awake, still ordinary. Streetlights glowing against glass. Subway brakes screaming in the tunnels below. Her name is Sneha Anne Phillip. 32 years old. A physician. Married less than a year. She lives with her husband, Ron Lieberman, in a small apartment near the World Trade Center. They're newlyweds? Not the fairy tale kind, but the kind built on work, exhaustion, and quiet plans for the future. 2 doctors trying to find time to be human. On the morning of September 10th, Ron leaves for his hospital shift. Sneha stays home. Later that day, she goes shopping in Lower Manhattan, Century 21, the kind of department store people remember for its chaos and deals. Security footage shows her near the entrance. Short hair, white shirt, black pants. She looks calm, ordinary, carrying a bag. Credit card records confirm it. Purchases of lingerie, clothes, shoes, items meant for the next day. Then the footage ends. No one sees where she goes. That night, she doesn't come home. Her husband assumes she stayed with a friend. It isn't unusual, not for Sneha, not for New York. But then morning comes, September 11th. Ron wakes up to an empty apartment. The air smells faintly of smoke before the first alarm sounds. Then, chaos. Television screens, sirens, the skyline changing in real time. He tries to call her. No answer. He tries again. The signal cuts. For days, he searches hospitals, posts her photo, waits in endless lines of families doing the same. But her name never appears on any list. The city becomes a landscape of loss. Thousands gone. No boundaries between those who died and those who simply disappeared. Weeks later, her family makes a claim. Sneha didn't vanish by chance. She ran toward the towers. She was a doctor. She would have gone to help. But investigators hesitate. They can't prove she was there. They can't prove she wasn't. Her body is never found. Her story sits between 2 truths: personal tragedy and collective history. Years pass. Her husband petitions the court, fights for her to be recognized as a victim of 9/11. Eventually, the decision comes down. She is declared dead, officially one of the lost. But not everyone agrees. Some say she left that night and never came back. Others believe she died, trying to save lives. No one can prove either. All that remains is the last image, Sneha, stepping through the revolving doors of Century 21, the reflection of the Twin Towers shining in the glass behind her. And just like that, her outline becomes part of history, a disappearance woven into the largest loss of all. But the next bride's story wouldn't vanish into history. It would explode into public view, a mystery captured, frame by frame, by a camera that showed everything except a face. Jennifer Kesse, January 24th, 2006. Orlando, Florida. It began like any other morning. A woman leaving for work. A routine so ordinary it should have protected her. Her name is Jennifer Kesse, 24 years old, a finance manager, engaged, planning her future. Her friends say she was careful, responsible, never impulsive. The night before, She'd spoken to her boyfriend on the phone. One of those simple end-of-day calls that vanish into memory. She told him goodnight. That was the last time anyone heard her voice. The next morning, she didn't show up for work, didn't answer her phone, didn't respond to messages. By evening, her parents drove to her condo. Her car was gone. Inside, everything looked normal. Bed made, clothes laid out, a damp towel hanging in the bathroom. It was the kind of scene that said, she got ready for the day and never made it out the door. Police found no signs of a struggle, no forced entry, nothing missing except Jennifer and her car. 2 days later, they found the car, abandoned in another apartment complex, barely a mile away. Cleaned, wiped down, and then the footage. A security camera pointed at the parking lot recorded a single figure parking Jennifer's car and walking away. The video became the center of the case, a few seconds long, grainy, haunting. The person walks in and out of view, each step perfectly hidden behind the thick bars of a fence. A face never shown, an identity erased by inches of metal and shadow. Police called it the luckiest fence in Florida. Every frame of clarity lost to coincidence. They analyzed the height, the stride, the clothes. Nothing matched anyone they knew. Theories multiplied. Abduction, a co-worker, a stranger from the nearby construction site. Everyone had an idea. No one had proof. Months passed. Then years. Jennifer's photo remained on posters, billboards, news segments that blurred into reruns. Her family kept searching. Every sighting, every rumor followed to exhaustion. Every holiday marked by the same empty chair. No body, no suspect, no trace of where she went after locking her condo door that morning. The footage remains, an image of someone doing something unthinkable in the middle of daylight and walking calmly away. Jennifer Kesse became one of Florida's most enduring mysteries, a case frozen in motion, a moment caught forever, but never understood. And as the years turned, the next story would cross oceans, one that began with celebration and ended in confusion, a bride who disappeared before the cake was even cut. The Lagos Bride. Lagos, Nigeria, 2023. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. The bride, radiant, young, surrounded by family, stood beneath the bright lights of a hall in Auraiya, smiling for cameras, holding her bouquet like the future itself. Outside, the air was thick with heat and music. Inside, laughter rolled through the crowd. The pulse of drums, the soft shimmer of gold and lace. Hours of celebration blurred together. Traditional dances, speeches, the clink of glasses. And then, at the edge of it all, a quiet moment no one saw begin. Near the end of the reception, as the crowd prepared for the cake cutting, the bride stepped away. Just a few minutes, someone said, to fix her makeup, to breathe, to change her dress. Minutes passed, then 10, then 30. When the music stopped, the silence was louder than anything that came before it. The groom waited near the stage, smiling nervously as people whispered behind their hands. A bridesmaid hurried down the hallway. The door to the dressing room was open. Empty. Her phone was gone. Her purse was gone. But her second gown, the one she was meant to change into, still hung untouched on its hanger. Guests began to search, down corridors, across the parking lot, into the streets. No one saw her leave. No one saw her taken. By midnight, the hall had emptied, but the sound of her name still echoed through it, called over and over, answered only by the hum of ceiling fans. Police lights came and went. Searchers combed the surrounding area, but she was gone. Not a trace, not a witness, not a sound. And yet, the wedding went on. In the early hours of the morning, the groom sat alone beside the half-cut cake, the candles burning low, the air heavy with disbelief. The next day, posters went up, then news stories, then silence. No one ever found her. No one could explain what happened between the moment she stepped away and the moment the music stopped. But her story didn't end with that empty hall, because while Lagos searched its streets for a missing bride, another family, thousands of miles away, was about to face the same question. Only this time, the wedding wouldn't stop at all. The Auraiya bride. Auraiya, India, December 2025. The groom's procession was already on the road. Drums, horns, laughter. A line of cars and horses moving slowly toward the bride's house, their headlights cutting through the winter haze. Inside that house, panic. The bride, young, quiet, beautiful, was gone. Her name was Priya, 23. She had left hours earlier for a beauty parlor nearby, promising to be home before the procession arrived. Her mother waited at the gate. Her father checked his watch. The phone rang. No answer. At first, they thought she was delayed. Then they thought she was lost. By the time the groom's family called to say they were minutes away, her mother was crying, and her brother was already on a motorcycle, racing down the narrow roads between villages. At the salon, nothing. No appointment, no sighting. No one who remembered her walking in. The wedding time came and went. Guests whispered. The groom's relatives began to ask questions. The father made phone calls, each one more desperate than the last. And then, the unthinkable. To keep the ceremony alive, a relative stepped forward. He offered his own daughter to stand in the bride's place, a different girl, a different life, wrapped in the same red sari, veiled beneath the same gold jewelry meant for Priya. The wedding continued, a celebration built on silence, vows spoken by strangers, music played to fill the space where her name should have been. The next morning, when the groom's procession left, the family filed a missing persons report. Police searched roads, rivers, stations. Nothing. Days turned to weeks. No trace of Priya. Her phone? Dead. Her bag? Gone. Her wedding dress? Still folded neatly in her room, never worn. Neighbors stopped talking about it out loud, but the story lingered. A single night when duty, fear, and tradition collided into something no one could undo. Some say she ran away. Some say she was taken. No one knows for sure. But the red sari she was meant to wear still hangs in her mother's closet, its color deep as blood under the dim yellow light. And while the search in Auraiya faded, another wedding, thousands of miles away, was about to break the same way, but end with an answer no one expected. Shera Dewan, Quezon City, Philippines, December 2025. The countdown was on, just days before the wedding. Invitations sent, dress fitted, every seat in the reception hall already claimed. Her name was Shera Dewan, 26, a nurse. Known for her warmth, her quiet sense of duty, and the way she always said yes when others needed her. On the evening of December 10th, she left home to run an errand, a short trip across the city. She told her mother she'd be back before dark. She never came home. At first, no one panicked. Traffic, errands. It was Manila. Delays were normal. But when night stretched into morning, her phone silent, her fiancé pacing the floor, fear crept in. Police were called. Search teams formed. For days, her photo filled social media, a smiling face framed by white lace from her bridal shoot. #FindShera trended across the Philippines. The clues were few. Her phone last pinged near a bus terminal. CCTV caught a blurry shape stepping into a side street. And then, nothing. Every day, her family waited by the gate, hoping for a call, a lead, anything. Every night, the news repeated the same words. Missing. Presumed taken. 19 days passed. Then, without warning, the silence broke. Shera walked into a police station in Ilocos, tired, thinner, shaking, but alive. The officers didn't recognize her at first. Her photo had become a national symbol of worry. Now, she stood before them, unable to explain where she'd been. She said she'd been afraid, that she'd needed time to think. Her voice trembled when she spoke her fiancé's name. Reporters pressed for answers. Police stayed cautious. Theories split in every direction. Escape, abduction, confusion, trauma. None confirmed. What mattered most to her family was that she was home. Her mother's arms around her, her wedding dress still waiting in its box, untouched, but no longer cursed by absence. The ceremony never happened. Too much had changed. But for once, a mystery ended with breath, not silence. And as the Philippines exhaled relief, half a world away in Texas, another bride-to-be would vanish. And this time, the truth would be carved from evidence, not hope. Christina Morris, Plano, Texas, August 30, 2014. It was the last weekend of summer. A group of friends, dinner, laughter, a few drinks. The kind of night that shouldn't have mattered, except that it would become the last one she was ever seen alive. Her name was Christina Morris, 23, engaged. She lived in Fort Worth, but that night, she met friends at a shopping and nightlife area called The Shops at Legacy. Security cameras captured her smiling, walking with friends through the plaza lights. At 3 a.m., the group began to split. One car here, another there, people saying goodnight with lazy waves. Christina left with an acquaintance, Enrique Arrochi, a man she knew from school. They walked together into a parking garage, their shapes moving through the dim blue light. It's the last image of her alive. Hours later, she didn't answer her phone, didn't text, didn't show up for work. Her parents called, then drove, then begged for anyone who had seen her. Posters went up within days. Helicopters searched the nearby fields. And then, the clue. Investigators found her DNA in the trunk of Enrique Arrochi's car, a single piece of evidence that changed everything. He denied knowing what happened, said he dropped her off, said he didn't remember. But the evidence said otherwise, and so did the footage. Police charged him with aggravated kidnapping. The trial gripped Texas. Friends testified. Detectives replayed the garage footage over and over, each second dissected for meaning. The jury didn't hesitate. Arrochi was sentenced to life in prison. But the question that mattered most, where was Christina, still had no answer. For 4 long years, her parents kept searching the edges of counties, following tips that led to nowhere. Until 2018. Construction workers clearing land in Anna, Texas found human remains in a shallow, wooded area. DNA confirmed what everyone feared. Christina Morris had finally been found. The silence was over, but not the ache. Her family buried her near their home in Fort Worth, the same photo from the posters, her smile, her certainty, etched into the memorial stone. The trial ended, the case closed, but the footage remains, that last moment of light before she disappeared. And though her story ended in discovery, not every bride gets that grace. Because in another country, along a stretch of quiet backwater, one last wedding morning would begin and end at the edge of the water itself. The Kerala Bride. Elamkunapuja, India, May 2018. Morning on the coast. The sound of temple bells mixing with the tide. A small house alive with color. Saris folded. Flowers scattered across the floor, the air heavy with jasmine and nerves. Her name was Krishna Priya, 21. Her wedding day had finally arrived. By noon, she was supposed to stand beside the man her family had chosen. A ceremony months in the making, every hour scheduled, every blessing prepared. At sunrise, she smiled for photos in her yellow wedding sari. Her cousins teased her, her mother cried softly, and the whole world felt ready. At 9 a.m., she left home for the beauty parlor nearby. A short walk through narrow streets, the lake glimmering beyond the trees. She told her aunt she'd be back soon. She never returned. By midday, the first calls began. The parlor said she never arrived. Her phone rang, then went silent. At the temple, the priest waited. Guests sat cross-legged in the heat, fanning themselves with folded programs. The groom stood near the altar, watching the entrance as the flowers began to wilt. Hours passed. The music stopped. The whispers grew. And then, the waiting turned to fear. Her brothers searched the streets. Her father called the police. Volunteers gathered near the water. Every minute, the crowd grew larger, the wedding dissolving into panic. That night, searchers moved through the backwaters with flashlights and long poles, their voices carrying softly over the dark water. At dawn, a fisherman spotted something near the edge of Vembanad Lake. A figure caught among the reeds, the red of her bridal shawl still bright against the morning fog. They pulled her from the water gently, as if afraid to wake her. The police came. The cameras followed. The wedding flowers still hung at the temple gates, wilting in the sun. There were no signs of struggle, no clear explanation. Only theories whispered in half-belief. An accident, a moment of despair, a story no one would ever fully understand. Her mother kept the bridal dress folded in a trunk, never washed, never moved. A reminder of what almost was, and what the day became instead. And so the series ends where it began, with a bride stepping out into the morning light, promising she'd be right back. But some roads, some stories, never lead back home.